This podcast may contain adult language, adult situations, spoilers, and some brief nudity, so parental guidance is suggested.
We have such sights to show you.
After about 5 minutes of this movie, you're gonna wish you had 10 beers.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
So, what would you little maniacs like to do first?
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Oh, well. La-di-da, la-di-da, la-la, yeah.
Welcome back to the Cinema Recall Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Cinema Recall Podcast. I am the Vern. Thank you so much for watching, listening, whatever you are doing. I am here today with the host of Jacked Up Reviews Podcast and a good friend of mine, Mr. Cam Sully. Hello, Cam.
How the hell you been, Vern?
It's so good to talk to you. Good to see your face and hear your voice there, too. Glad you are joining us for our Recalling Rodriguez series here on Cinema Recall, talking about the films of Robert Rodriguez. Your pick is one I have never heard of before. Before we dive into that, I want to hear your history a little bit more about Robert Rodriguez movies.
So, like many guests, I had read, what's the one, Rebel Without a Crew, and, that was like a godsend for anyone getting into film. You're just like, yeah, it's ridiculous how so many people like to go back and forth and pretty much get to that point where Rodriguez is basically like Lucas, where he's just like, I'm just going to do all my indie films. I'm going to quit the Directors Guild because I'm not going to play by any of roles of any kind. I'm still going to find ways to get my famous acting buddies and B-movie guys to cameo every movie I do.
Sure.
And the El Mariachi trilogy, was commonly cited. But yeah, he was kind of... It's so funny how there's so much crossover with Tarantino, but most people, we just thought, oh, they work together. It's like, yeah, but there's characters, like there's their bumbling father and son deputy guys who get killed and then come back to life, like Kenny from South Park in every movie they do. It's just like, yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, he's been his own independent filmmaker for a while, and I greatly appreciate that. He just kind of does things himself. He also is one of the directors that works for a studio system, but also then works for himself too. And he kind of goes back and forth on those features. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate that very much whenever I watch his movies, because when you're watching something like Machete Kills,
right?
That's for kind of himself. Or even like the Spy Kids movies. I feel like the Spy Kids are sort of like his family, sort of like franchise movies that he does.
Did anyone ever figure out if Uncle Machete is the same Machete as the Grindhouse character?
I think so. Okay. I'm gonna say that they are, and that Machete's brother is Antonio Banderas. All right,
perfect.
And Carlo Gugino. I just think that Machete is almost like incognito on certain things. And, he's trying to be the uncle for those two kids and all that good stuff right there. So, yeah, I like the fact, too, that he does both the kids' films and then, these crazy grindhouse exploitation films, too, like Road Racers, all right?
Yes.
Yeah.
As part of that Showtime anthology series.
Exactly, that grindhouse movies that he made. It always seems to, go in and out of, different genres here, so... This one... Oh, go ahead.
The Director's Chair was such a fun show that he used to have on his L Ray network before he shut it down. And
what? Okay, so what is the L Ray network?
That was a channel he had in the late 2010s. Then he shortly closed it down around early 2021-ish, I think. But it was cool because he pretty much had all his filmmaker buddies he was obsessed with on there. He had everyone from Michael Mann and Del Toro to Stallone and just other famous people. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what he's been doing more often than not, kind of like Steven Soderbergh. When he's not doing any of his movies, he's recording commentary tracks for any Friends movies he admires or doing sit downs or commentaries,
Okay, because I know like back in the day when cable was a thing, like actual cable channels, I
Mm-hmm.
do vaguely recall El Rey Network along with like Encore. And
Yes.
there was like we had like HBO, Showtime, the movie channel, Cinemax, but then there were these other channels. And I remember like Encore being one of them, and I saw El Rey being between Encore and the movie channel. And every time I would flip it on, it would be like this really crazy, bombastic, like cult movies. And I'm like, I just never made that connection that it was Rodriguez doing that. So
Yeah, the Tarantino interview was an explosive sit down. The Coppola chat was fun. Luis Valdez was neat. The guy behind Zoot Suit and La Bamba. And I didn't see the Zemeckis, George Miller, or Favreau, or Darabont, or even Streisand. I had no idea he interviewed any of those guys, but the main explosive guys that he was showing, he's like, yeah, I definitely saw those chats.
oh geez.
But yeah,
Okay.
El Rey was a big deal because it was all uncut. So it was like they'd censor some language and nudity in the daytime, but it's like after certain times, like, okay, these movies it's gonna be like IFC, everything's uncut. I have not seen Red 11. So yeah, we're getting into the weird thick of it where he's doing his unusual, very micro budget projects that I definitely have not seen any ads for.
Well, and then before we get into the movie here, is there a particular, besides what we're talking about right now, was there a Robert Rodriguez movie that made you a fan? Like you were
Oh
like,
man.
after you watch this, I gotta watch more of his features.
I kind of blended it together. I definitely, I was a kid, so I did see Spy Kids in theaters, but he was just always on the horizon. I knew he had done various other projects with various Latino actors in Hollywood, as well as just kind of just prided himself on is like, I did all these movies with 3 famous people. See, I did The Faculty. Hey, see, I did the El Mariachi trilogy. Hey, I did Dusk Till Dawn. So yeah, I mean, he kind of rode that wave for a while, and he's had ups and downs like every filmmaker, but he's always just kind of been, because you admire his vision so much, it's just kind of like, hey, he's going to do what he wants to do. I can admire that.
Oh, 100% we can. Well, first of all, before we get into the movie here, thank you so much, everyone, for listening to Cinema Recall. Please
Patreon.
follow us on all of your podcast apps. We're available on Spotify and on Apple Podcast. We're also available on YouTube. Please see our website, cinemarecall.net. Today's episode of the movie Hypnotic, we have a sponsor here, and I'm going to play that for you right now before we get to this.
This has been a test of the emergency hypnotoad system. Had this been an actual hypnosis, you would go limp and watch whatever crap comes on next. Coming up next, Futurama.
All right. That's my little clip of Hypnotoad, because today's feature is the movie Hypnotic, starring Ben Affleck, William Fichtner, Alice. I had notes here now. Alice. Oh shoot,
Alice Brega. Yeah,
thank you. That's what it is right there. Alice Brega right there. I knew I.
That's fine.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
gonna go through so many other names in this damn thing.
The essential story of Hypnotic is that Ben Affleck plays a detective who is in the search for his missing daughter, and he's hunting a man played by William Fichtner who has the powers to use hypnosis to make people do whatever they want. You know what, Stuart? I'm just going to play the trailer of this because I think that will probably help me out more, and instead of me trying to explain what this is. So here's a TV spot for Hypnotic.
Are you familiar with the concept, the ability to influence the brain, sound, voice?
Need a light?
Locking eyes.
Why me? Why my daughter?
Hands up!
But I'm the wrong man.
What you're seeing isn't real!
All right. Hypnotic. I think this is Robert Rodriguez's trying to make his own like Inception.
And it's so funny. I didn't think of that at all while watching it, but I understand why the comparisons were drawn. I was thinking more Manchurian Candidate, Born Identity.
That's a good comparison right there too. Um,
But there's surprisingly a lot of neo-noir in this, which I did not expect at all.
well, yeah, I mean, first of all, when watching this and you realize it is a Robert Rodriguez movie, all right, this surprisingly for a Robert Rodriguez movie, you know, there's action in this, but not as much.
Right.
I feel like Rodriguez really wants to tell like this very compelling, mind twisty of a tale, and he really wants to be taken seriously as like, hey, I'm gonna be the director that gives you all these twists and turns, and you're not gonna expect things. But yet, I sort of did expect things, and the stuff I wasn't suspecting, it felt like way out there. Let's get into your kind of like general thoughts, and then we're trying to pick this puzzle piece apart. Okay, what do you generally think about this?
So I'm seeing comparisons to Firestarter, which I can kind of get, but I didn't get that. But I understand. So I think this is
Well, we
what.
should- yeah,
Go ahead.
That's
Go
not
ahead.
let's say a little spoiler. Okay, but yeah, go ahead.
Either way, by frame one, I was like, okay, so he's kind of doing his own Twilight Zone Outer Limits. He's doing whatever he wants to do with this. And I think the weirdness is kind of the main star of this movie because he's kind of just doing whatever he wants to do and having fun with his acting friends.
Yeah, very
And
much
it's
so.
funny how Ben Affleck has a Latino co-star. That's definitely so. This is a meta movie for Ben.
Well, now at the very beginning of the movie, when he's talking to his psychiatrist, I really thought that was Rosario Dawson.
Did you really?
I did.
Oh
I
my
thought that was
God.
her, and I didn't seem to write down her name. Oh yeah,
She
it's
was cute.
it's Nikki Ditson.
Oh
I
yeah.
I really thought it was like an older Rosario Dawson because he worked with her in like Sin City. I'm like, okay, bring her back to, little cameo. That's kind of a cool thing, but it wasn't. And then he's at this therapist's office. He's having flashbacks about his daughter, telling the story about his daughter got kidnapped, and the guy who kidnapped her was found not guilty. And then there's this news about a robbery happening at this
Mhm.
bank, and they go to this location of the bank, and then William Fichtner shows up, and he tells one girl it's very hot outside, so she starts taking off her clothes because she feels like it's very hot, and then he tells the cop something else, and then he goes to see the bank teller, and then he tells her something, and then she goes into the bank to retrieve a safety deposit box, and
Mhm.
but Ben Affleck is already there, and he happens to take this photo, and all these things get set up so that William Fichtner's character can escape. And then right when Ben Affleck's character dies, he has him like on the rooftop with the police there. William Fichtner just says to these cops, "Hey, I'm not the right guy." And then they turn and point their guns at Ben Affleck.
Mhm.
And then he for some I forgot how I forgot exactly how he was able to escape from that. But
It was complicated, yeah.
all these things, he ends up meeting up with this girl, Alice Brega's character, and she has hypnosis powers too.
Mhm.
And so they are both on this case to find out about what happened to Ben Affleck's daughter. And also at the same time, you got this crazy guy, William Fichtner's character,
Mhm.
who seems to show up everywhere they are going. All right.
Yeah.
Which no matter where they go, he just shows up. I'm like, is he like some sort of like spirit? How the hell is he there all the time? Like no matter where they go, and it's not just like he appears.
Yeah, I kind of got an Agent Smith vibe from him. I got
Y-
kind of
Yeah.
a Phantasm Cancer Man deal, and it's just like, yeah, either way, he's being that unstoppable Mr. Glass type force, and he's jumping around, and the minute he jumps off the building and disappears, is like, yeah, so super agent.
You know, his ability to hypnotize people really fast, just do like one word, all right, or just one
Right.
saying. You know what it reminds me of, Cam?
Joker, Riddler.
No. Have you seen the show Jessica Jones, the first season?
I've seen that all. Yeah, it's pretty similar to David Tennant's
David Tennant's
bad guy.
character in
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Much of the same kind of psychological cat and mouse, but it's weird. Like, he doesn't really get off on any violence. He pretty much just does it just because he can. Then we had Jackie Earl Haley being a guy who knows too much stuff and isn't going to last long. And you're like, what else is happening here? We got the other detective partner who's later not Affleck's detective partner show up. But yeah, it was wild. It's like I had so many other buddies who are hit and miss on Rodriguez, and they're like, "You got to see this. You got to see this." So I was like, "Yeah." I put it on the watch list. I knew it was its own kind of collective thing. You had these comparisons, but you didn't really know where he was going with it. And it was like, hey, as long as it's not one of Affleck's lesser 2000 action movies, we should be good. And I was like, yeah, it was kind of just doing its own reality and illusion technique, and then surprisingly, it avoided being shallow or as cliche as I thought it was going to be. Where it's like, okay, everyone's going to undress and make out and get in gunfights. It's like, no, they're kind of just going to the next weird scene and then dealing with the next weird mystery or illusion. So it was kind of, I guess the gist of it was kind of like when Soderbergh surprises us, the same kind of deal. It's like, yeah, Rodriguez is surprising us, and definitely not what I expect from what he usually does, which is goofy kids movies or over the top gory action sci-fi horror movies. So it's like, yeah, he's kind of just taking us on a chase and then slowing down and then chasing again. But it's weird as well as a highlight seeing him not do what he typically does. So it's like, yeah.
Well, and I appreciate him trying to go outside of his like wheelhouse, what he normally does. I just kind of wish they had a better story and a better
Yeah.
screenplay to go along with this one. I almost would have done the movie more as of like, I'm being hypnotized and I'm not quite sure what to follow. I wouldn't really reveal the William Fichtner character as a person that can do the hypnosis and how he can
Right.
control people till like a little bit halfway down the road there. It'd be fun to see just you believe that William Fichtner's character is the one that could have taken his daughter. All right.
Yes.
And we don't realize the extent of his powers till later on, till Ben Affleck's character starts seeing things that are not there. But the moment that William Fichtner's character tells that girl to like take off her clothes to like distract other things, I'm like, oh, so you have hypnosis superpowers. That's your superpower. You can tell anyone to do anything. It doesn't really matter. Like, and then there's like, oh no, we have this other girl here, and she has powers as well. She's not as powerful as this other person, but she's gonna really control her powers and become more strong. And then we get to kind of a moment halfway through this film where Ben Affleck starts to develop powers too. And I'm not quite
Yes.
sure where that's going. And when they do meet Jackie Earl Haley's character, and he's been like a person involved with Alice Brega's character and like developing skills, and they were both being taught by William Fichtner's character and how to develop and harness their hypnosis powers. And then all of a sudden, nope, he's William Fichtner's character has been in control of Jackie Earl Haley's
Yeah.
character, and now, oh my gosh, he's been hypnotized, and oh, wait, you're a peer already? Yeah, that's right. The whole Matrix thing, and yeah, Dr. Smith and all that stuff, and just out there, way over the top type of thing. And And yeah, then Ben Affleck
It's
is like,
weird. It's like it defies expectations, and then you remember the reveals, and then you're like, I wish it could have gone somewhere else. But then it's kind of because they defied what we usually expect from these cast and crew. That was the other weird thing about it. It was the weirdness was kind of the highlight. I didn't expect the domino sequence. I know others who saw the trailer were, but I was just like, yeah, I just know it's a weird, atypical movie. But I guess it's like he kind of defied expectations because he didn't do his usual campy or gory, gruesome tactics, but then he also went a little deeper, but then it was kind of as deep as he already went, like with Sin City's noir drama. So yeah, I don't know if he went beyond his expectations and limitations. I don't know, but I looked up the co-writer Max Borenstein. He's kind of known for doing. He created Winning Time, that Adam McKay sports historical comedy. He did the new Warner Brothers Godzilla and Kong stuff. He did this political thriller called Worth, and he also created the Terror TV show. So
okay.
yeah, it's same kind of genre kind of person. Yeah.
You mentioned Manchurian Candidate almost
Mhm.
being like an inspiration for this, and I kind of wish that the writers of this watched that movie a little bit more closely, because they didn't like give away things right away so soon. And I feel like with this one, things and characters and their motives are given away way too soon. Um, Especially when we get the main reveal, and I'm not going to show that right now. But when you get the main reveal about what happens, the first part doesn't seem to make much sense, but it kind of does. And I feel like in a different screenwriter's mind, they would have like somehow moved scenes earlier than later. If this movie was going to be called Hypnotic, I wanted the movie to hypnotize me more. Like,
Yeah, gotcha.
I wanted to be kind of like to have the rug pull out of me more than I did. Like, I don't think him hunting this other Ben Affleck's character hunting this other person who has hypnosis power should be the appeal at the start. All right.
The heel, yeah.
That should be something that should happen maybe towards like the middle of it, because right when the first like 10 minutes you realize, well, this person has superpowers. It's almost like the superhero movie. And
Kinda.
then we have other characters who also have like the same type of like powers, and they have like the psychic ability. Like that lady, Alice Brega's character, she has ability to use hypnosis, and she uses it free willingly on anyone the same way that William Fichtner's character uses it. They're in that restaurant, and the cops there, and the cops are ready to bust them, and she says, "Call it in, all right." And he calls it in, and then right when he calls it in, William Fichtner's character, the bad guy Hypnosis, is right there on the radio going, "I'm here already," and he shows up there. I'm like, the hell, all right?
Yeah, it's got some hackneyed shit in there that
and when I feel like I should like spoil what happens now. All right, I mean,
go for it. Spoiler
alert there. Yeah, you. Okay. So it turns out that Ben Affleck, who is beating all this. Oh, before we do the main reveal, so Ben Affleck finds out. So we found out that Ben Affleck is the one that has kidnapped his daughter. All right.
Yes.
And then Alice Brega is sort of working with William Fichtner's character as this sort of like team of scientists who are trying to harness this girl's powers. And Ben Affleck doesn't want his daughter to be involved with this. So he takes her, has them hidden in the home of Jeff Fahey, which I thought was great, and his wife.
Good old Jeff.
Always a throwback there to other movies that he's been in before, Planet Terror and Machete films and whatnot.
But oh no, he and the other Latino gal get shotgun blasted. Oh. But don't worry, they're back.
Well, and then once we find out that everything that we saw that Ben Affleck was going through, all his like investigations of going through police stations and towns, that was all fabricated. So that was not actually
I didn't
there.
understand that, but thanks for refreshing me. I was like, what?
So when he goes to Mexico with her, they actually were not in Mexico. Everything was like been fabricated. So all their investigations was fake. And then while there, because they're still trying to use Ben Affleck to try to find out where this girl is, because he has been keeping her memory so deep down in his psyche that they don't know exactly where she is for sure. And then they find a way out to this home where the girl's staying at. And this is where we get another reveal on top of this. It's like freaking like meta on top of meta. It's like that Inception thing, like layers upon layers, dreams upon dreams sort of thing, that both Ben Affleck and Alice Brega, they are both the parents of this girl. All right. And that they both have major hypnosis powers. And this is where you're getting into with your fire starter. All right. They're both parents with these powers. They give birth to a daughter who also has these powers as well. And this government agency wanted to keep her hidden to become some sort of weapon. And so these two devise a plan where they're going to erase each other's memories. And then by the strength of their love, and they are going to somehow find a way to like get together to like solve this mystery and save their daughter. And it was like the whole farmhouse where they kept this daughter is also a fabrication as well. And have you seen the new Naked Gun?
Yes.
With Liam Neeson, where every time they arrest someone and they're like, well, end the simulation now, and they end the simulation, and they're back like jail, or they're in somewhere else where it's not supposed to be. I expected something like that. Like, oh no, we're now in a different jail cell, or we're in a hospital, and it's like, I wouldn't be surprised if they ended up on a goddamn movie set, Cam.
Right.
Oh.
Like you say, it is one of these other B or C grade movies where it's like, okay, it's like I expected Rodriguez to be way more over the top, you know, because usually he has people with huge chests and endless gun battles and gory slow motion. Is like, nope, he didn't do that this time. But yeah, then he has these ideas, but then he doesn't explore it in the way we would prefer. And then I'm having some fun to unpack it, but it's a B movie, which is kind of what he's best known for. So I'm wondering if this is a different direction he wants to go in from this point forward, or what. I don't know. I don't know what he's doing here.
You know, this, honestly, Cam, this probably would have made a good video game, like a full motion video game.
Morphing.
If they would have like taken this slowly and have you be in the mind of Ben Affleck, first of all, trying to find about where his missing daughter's at, and he's hunting this guy who he believes is involved with her disappearance, but he can never get a hold of him for some reason. I would not reveal right away that he has powers to hypnotize people. Keep that hidden, all right? You just think that, how is he able to elude my escape, all right? Why is he able to do this? Because I get so close to him, but I can't catch him. And then later on, I would have had William Fichtner's character hypnotize Ben Affleck's character. He does so, all right? But I don't want us as the audience to know we are being hypnotized, because we do not know about the reveal of his powers right away, all right? And then later on, we can reveal powers that he has, and you're like, oh crap, I'm hypnotized. And you meet this other girl, she has the same type of powers too, and she's able to like undo his hypnosis. but maybe not tell the audience that all the way. Like he's still hypnotized, but maybe not as quite as hypnotized. And then later on, you can show that he has powers and that he has like this whole other family. It would be this long, drawn out video game because the acting kind of reminds me in a way of like full motion video games and the acting quality they had back in the day. Like
90s CD-ROMs.
yeah, CD-ROM game. I mean, it's fine, but it's nothing really great. I don't think all the actors are really that special. The only actor I believe that's really given it his best is probably William Fichtner in a way. I mean, I feel like
Yep.
he's probably the best one. This troop right here, Ben Affleck doesn't make much of a police detective. More than he
Yeah.
does like a father
He
trying to
just does
find
intense staring. Yeah.
his like missing kid right there. And I know he's a good actor because I recently rewatched Gone Girl and I thought he was really good in Gone Girl because
hmm
he's kind of playing a buffoon in that one. And I
He used to
think
be an internet punching bag, and then after the 2000s were ending, he was slowly getting in more ensembles again. So, I mean,
yeah. I think it depends too on the director he's working with as well. I think that if
yes.
he is with the good director, he can put on a good performance there. I don't know exactly what Robert Rodriguez was trying to do with Ben Affleck, and I wasn't quite sure if there was alternate casting choices or whatnot with that. But he's a fine person. But then when it's revealed that they're both like these parents with these superpowers and that they're gonna try to develop this plan and it all just miraculously works. Um it I almost kind of wish they told the story of them putting together this plan to make it work,
hmm
and I feel like that would have been better, but I don't know.
It's very cliche. It would definitely get a D in a screenwriting class, but I guess because it's a genre movie and it didn't shoot too high, I just let it go, even though it is kind of a perfect example. Like I've seen other way worse movies prior to this, where it's like you would see someone like let's look at Roland Emmerich. He makes serious movies that we can't take seriously as other than over the top blockbusters. So
Sure.
this is kind of weird, where it's like they're going in a different direction. They kind of went to their extent, and then Max, I kind of feel like he just went for the typical, turn your brain off kind of popcorn, even though this is speaking a whole different language. I guess what prevents it from being a complete deal breaker is I was involved, even though there were some scenes that dragged. But I guess I just was in a fun mood. I was like, hey, I was expecting way worse.
Oh
And
sure.
because the weirdness was kind of the start of the show and he didn't cater to the lowest common denominator, I guess I just was fun with it. But even though it's debatable where you would put this, definitely not a top 10 of the year list, but also I was like, hey, I like the ideas explored, even though the connective tissue is missing. So I don't know.
I mean, the time length of this is like only an hour 30 minutes, so it's not like a waste of time. And the story does move at a good pace where I was never bored of the movie.
hmm
I was having an enjoyment trying to pick things apart. But when things got revealed, I'm like, oh, really? You're gonna do this thing? Okay, that's kind of really ridiculous. I thought the whole thing were like, the way they can hypnotize people this quickly, and then they try to have some sort of like scientific explanation about how they're able to do it. Like, you don't need to explain this stuff. It's just saying, hey, it's mumbo jumbo for plot, move the plot forward. They're able to hypnotize people very much. And yeah, just people be able to be hypnotized like really fast. And I almost expected like a big like hypnotized war between them. All right.
Right.
And then did you watch it past the end credits?
No, I didn't know there was anything after the end credits. I thought there was.
So after the movie, so the movie ends where they all are reunited together after they just assassinated basically everyone, all the people who were part of this
hmm
division. They
He
kind of
makes
had everyone,
everyone shoot themselves and all that
yeah.
jazz.
And so the
That was wild
father,
too, because weren't you expecting way more over the top deaths? It's like, nope. It's like we're just gonna have them shoot each other, and he does that fancy different takes, passage of time, edits that he likes to do, and it's like, okay, that's wild.
Exactly. And
I was
everyone
expecting.
is killed there. Families reunited, and they all like fly off in a helicopter. And then we cut to a scene where Jeff Fahey's character is dead. All right, but when he stands up, he's William Fichtner's character. All right,
Oh yeah, it was just like,
and
what's happening there?
William
So
Fichtner is like alive, and I guess he still has powers or whatnot. I'm not sure, but it kind of ends where he looks up at the helicopter, and I was like, "Are we making a part 2 here where you're gonna be trying to find the kid?" But this kid has been seen as the most powerful hypnosis person ever, so you're not going to be able to get close to her at all whatsoever.
hmm
I almost wish it was like Firestarter, where she starts lighting fires everywhere. I would have enjoyed that.
more bloodshed. Yeah.
Yeah. Or they're trying to keep her in hiding everywhere, but she's got these powers and she can't control it. And her mind hypnosis powers becoming much more erratic and they can't control her anymore. And she becomes much more evil in some sort of way. I don't know.
The fact this leaves me wanting more, I want to give it props for that. At the same time, though, like you say, it is doing no-nos of cinema that you kind of don't do. So it's like a partial give, a partial receive, a partial discipline in
Yeah.
progress. I feel like we're being teachers here. We're like, hey, you do and you don't do that, but good try anyway.
Good try to do it.
You
Exactly.
get a C minus, but what the fuck?
Yeah, I just I appreciate Rodriguez for wanting to do something different than his usual stuff. I get that, but first of all, Rodriguez, stop rating movies. All right, you are not a good writer. Have someone else. It's probably a good story if you would have delivered this to another writer who has worked in this type of genre before. They would tell you exactly this does not work. Okay, this doesn't work here. You don't want to you don't want to display certain things about characters here. And I'm not saying I would have done a better job either, but I would have given this to someone who had a better
Know your
rated.
limitations.
Well,
Yeah.
especially for movies that have like twists like this. All right.
Mhm.
I mean, give it to M. Night Shyamalan. Have him do like a once over with it. All right. I know
There
he's
you
been
go.
doing too much of that, but he's worked in this sort of thing before. He knows how to reveal things and not reveal things right away. So just like give it to a couple more screenwriters. I can see why. I don't remember this movie being played in theaters at all. I don't know if it just came to Netflix or
It was in theaters, but it was like a very brief thing, very limited release. And before I knew it, it was on Peacock. And I'm like, okay, shit.
okay.
Two big
Yeah.
names, three big names. I've been fortunate enough to work with Alice Brega. I did extra work for that not so great USA Network show, Queen of the South.
Tell me about that, because yes, I want to get. So you have met
Yeah.
Lisa
eh,
Brega, the
It
mother.
was so funny. Like, so A, it was a fun payday. B, I didn't like how snobby everyone was to each other. There was a lot of people who were, some were approaching it with the right attitude. We're doing a cable TV show.
All
The
right,
rest were talking smack about each other. These writers don't know what they want. These actors don't know what they want.
Right.
I was just
So
like,
let me back you up just a few
Yes.
sentences here. So you worked
was an
with
extra.
the lady here, Alice
Alice
Brega.
Braga.
Alicia
Yep.
Brega.
Yep.
Thank you. You worked with her on what project?
Queen of the South. And
Queen of the South. Okay.
many were familiar with her because they're like, oh yeah, that's the gal from City of God and I Am Legend. By this time she's already been in westerns, horror movies, sci-fi, even a face drama. But yeah, uh, I like the premise of the thing, but I also going in like it was just both frustrating because the end product wasn't great, but it would have been better had we probably had a better crew. Because we had these writers who thought their shit was cool, but didn't really go anywhere with the concept, which is, our cartel gal out for revenge, trying to build her own empire. And then to have actual people on the show talking shit in front of you while on set, you're just like, so you don't want to be here and you're talking shit about the thing you're getting paid to do? Well, no wonder this isn't going to be a great end product. But
Were
I
they
kept
yelling at
Go
were
ahead.
they yelling at you while on the set?
No,
There?
no,
There's been-
they're just like talking with us and being like, but who cares about this fucking thing? I'm like, whoa, nice, dude.
so
You're
you're
talking. I'm encountering a very cynical crew, and it's like, you know, you can make changes, you can fix stuff, but they were already angry because there had been like a delayed filming with how they were going to try and kill people, and then basically they kept changing directors who kind of were just in it for the payday, and then you're just like, it was fun going to them shutting down a prison for the day, but yeah, it was just kind of a very cynical crew. Everybody's just talking shit about their product and what they could do better, and she was a very nice person, but the biggest annoyance for me was encountering other extras who thought they were hot shit. And it's like, okay, guys, we are just extras. That is all we are doing here. We are not, you know.
So I'm very curious about this, camp. Kind of bring us into kind of the world of like being an extra for this particular show. Like, do you have to show up there super early? Do they put
Yeah,
your mate?
it's you. Some people do it for a living, but that's not very realistic. You know, you're gonna
Yeah.
get paid, you know, X amount for the day. You're gonna have fun, and with everything I've done stuff in, you know, other cities and seen other people work in other states like New Orleans and Atlanta. It's like, here's the other thing. It varies by state. And it's like when you're in a non-union state, a lot of these productions are going to be way more open. Actors will gladly walk around with the other crew members.
Okay.
And versus a big professional production, which is going to be like, you cannot stare these actors in the face, cannot, you know, hang out with the producers. And I think the other issue is like, you got to just love movies. So I was interested seeing how the filming was going, but it was also annoying because I kept encountering extras who had a big head. It's like, and sometimes I had to explain to them the whole process because I'd seen some DVD extras, you know, making of movies, and they're like, why is that actor, you know, getting out of the car? And each time they reset, do they have an ego? I'm like, no. See, that's the stunt coordinator's job to get the car, you know, in order and everything while they get out and focus on their close-up line while they say that campy one-liner. Is like, that's all they got to do. So the tone of the show was understood. The premise was underwhelming. And then I think everybody talking shit about the end product before it was even out really sealed the deal as not being that great a product, even by USA Network standards. But it's kind of annoying seeing people talk shit when they're being paid to do a good job. So you're just like, you know, you can make changes, you can fix stuff.
Yeah, you don't. Oh, that's
you don't know it. There's a lot of movies that you don't know are any good, but you get to the editing room, it's like, hey, that was a crappy day of shooting, but we got usable footage. So it's like you don't know until you know. Yeah.
And the fact too that everyone on set was being very kind of despairing of everyone.
Yeah.
As like actors, even extras, that doesn't make you want to work well to make the scene believable, anything like that. So,
well, what's going to stop you from talking shit about the next thing you're on? You know, you're already grateful here. So, yeah, that bitterness was just very annoying. And then it was also annoying when I would tell people about the show and I would meet other people who didn't like crime stuff to begin with. It's like, well, there's good gangster movies and there's bad gangster movies. You don't know if it's any good.
Yeah.
The fun part was seeing Bucho. So there's a tie into Desperado. Joaquin de Almeida's the bad guy for that first season. They pretty much spoil it for us from the get-go. They're like, oh, by the way, don't tell anyone, but he's going to die by the end of this season. I'm like, gee, thanks. Makes me want to look forward to watching this show. But
did you guys watch it at all?
I did. It was kind of a hate watch where it was like a really bottom of the barrel, like CSI meets Burn Notice type show, but it's trying to be like Taken or Man on Fire. So again, too many cooks in the kitchen, but watchable. Just, it had a lot of not good stuff working for it. And it sounds hypocritical that I worked on it and I was unimpressed with the thing. But here's the thing. I was looking at this objectively. I saw other people talking shit because they're like, I didn't make the cut. I'm like, you're an extra.
Yeah, that's not the point. Okay.
You're not the star of the show. I don't see you as number 12 on the call sheet. So that's
or people try to look at the cameras all the time when they're on the set.
Yeah, and
Okay,
it's like, unless you're a henchman, you're not gonna get any screen time on this damn thing.
It's like Dee Williams, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where she's an extra and always try to like make her face seen in frame and all that stuff.
Joey on Friends being asked to do a Pacino type monologue is like, that's not in your wheelhouse. But yeah, but Bucho was a delight, very funny motherfucker, and is like, and he's seeing us and he knows we recognize him. But yeah, he had to do a big speech because he's like a crooked politician. And all this jazz. And what's so funny though is like he's having to read a line and he's like, can you have that teleprompter a little bit closer so I can, lean into it more?
Exactly.
And he's saying this while his daughter's on set and he's having lunch and he's blow drying his hair for the next scene. Was like, yeah, no, he's played bad guys in his sleep. It's a shame that they couldn't give him a deep role. He's kind of just doing his typical roles he's typecast in, but every once in a while someone would cry out Bucho.
Nice. Okay.
So there's some funny behind the scenes anecdotes to this, but yeah, I think if everyone had been less cynical we might have had a better product, but we'll see.
Well, all right, fair enough. Well, that's still kind of a cool story that you got to be on set with.
You'll never forget those stories.
Of course. I mean, got to be on the set with our one of our lead actors.
Lacey
from this
was
movie,
cool.
Hypnotic, and that was really kind of a cool thing.
At the time, we didn't recognize her because she'd have gory makeup on after filming a fight scene. It is like, oh, hey, hello.
She cleans up. She looks pretty good when help out with that blood on her. So, very cool. Do you have any closing thoughts about Hypnotic before we can wrap things up here?
Like you kind of summed up is like, yeah, to take it with a grain of salt, but there's some junk in this now. So I had expectations really low, even though like I say, it did not check off all the boxes that would make it a better movie. So it's definitely a B or C level, a B minus kind of. Maybe a like D if you're more strict, but it's definitely a restricted kind of movie that's trying to do a few things, and it's a mixture of people who want to go bigger but are restricting themselves. So it's almost kind of like every spy movie or assassin film where you're just like, you're getting a split persona here. That's kind of both. Yeah.
The problem with this movie is the title of Hypnotic. All right. I really thought that it was going to be like a clever play on words, not that they're going to have actual people with hypnosis powers. And one hypnotic person can battle another person with the same type of powers. And the way that they're able to do this stuff so fast, and oh my gosh, our main character, he has these main powers too. He's like the Neo of like hypnotic world. It just felt so cliche to call it Hypnotic. And maybe I went to this with zero expectation.
Distortion, maybe.
Exactly. Yeah, Distortion would have been a good one too. I came to this movie with like zero expectations, and it came out to be like low at the end of it. It was fine watching it for the first time. Like this would have been like a really fun B grade novel. This is like the type of novels you would read on an airplane ride, where it's trashy and things happen that don't make much sense, and then when you're done with that, you're like, well, that was kind of dumb. But you kind of got involved as you're reading about these characters, you're reading about his missing daughter. As a book, this probably would have been much better than a movie. So yeah, I'm giving this one a D for me. So.
All right, blam.
Bam, right there. Before we do go, Cam, please tell everyone what's happening with the Jacked Up Reviews podcast.
We're investigating our own C and D list movies.
Nice, I love it.
Yeah. What's that? Oh, that's right. Vern was on the show for a Joe Dante free.
I was on there for a brief minute there. Yes.
That's coming out soon later this summer. But yeah, we've been kind of just going with the different themes every October from this year to 2029 is X-Files October. So you're gonna get stuff like that. You're gonna get some themed months. We got Godfather August, so that'll be an excuse to talk everything Mario Puzo and Coppola related, as well as other Godfather related stuff. There's plenty of other just ways we try to find a theme, and it's like, yeah, because we're running out of franchises. So it's like, yeah, we're coming up with pop culture lists, and those have always been fun. Who are the Kinneys of fiction? People who keep dying and coming back to life or getting injured.
Sure.
Who are the Leroy Jenkins, the people who ruin everything for their significant storyline? And I don't mean like they ruin the movie. I just mean they like they're like a traitor on the team who wrecks the entire squad, or they
Okay.
they
I'm intrigued because I can't really think of any examples of that, but I'm very
think
intrigued
of
to hear
every
that.
think of every dysfunctional movie where it's like the family has a drug dealing brother who, you know, makes his family's expenses dry up, you know. So it was a fun excuse to just start the list. So we're doing stuff like that. We have been doing franchise face-offs. We did Freddy and Jason. Now we're coming out with Star Wars versus Star Trek, and then we're going to conclude with Alien and Predator. I just thought, hey, this would be a fun way to kind of finally determine what's the better franchise by everything from what had a better death scene to what had a better part 5, what had a better spin-off material, what had a better remake. You know, there's
There
so
you
many.
go. I just see something too, like what has a better robot in movies? Is it Terminator or RoboCop?
Yeah, there you go.
No,
Like, so
adding the chick from Ex Machina in there too. Like, who's a better robot to me? Which robot had like the better mind? Which robot controlled things better? But very cool stuff.
Cybermind. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Did you
it's
think
just a
about
fun
the
excuse.
replicants? I see your Blade Runner poster right back there. What do you think about the replicants is there? So
Yeah.
very cool. Well, for Cinema Recall, we're still continuing our Recall and Rodriguez series. My big apologies because I recorded an episode with Ryan Luis Rodriguez of One Track Mind on Alita Battle Angel, but for some reason that episode got ruined. Maybe beyond my part, I'm not quite sure, but I apologize, Ryan. That episode had to be scrapped, so hopefully we can re-record it again soon. I have an episode coming up here later on with Scott from the Church of Tarantino podcast talking about the Rodriguez section, the misbehaviors on 4 Rooms. That should be coming out in the next couple weeks as well. If you are a Patreon member, again, patreon.com/cinemaricopod, you're going to get exclusive video footage of this episode up on there, audio really anywhere else, and then I'll post this video on YouTube a week or so later. And then I'm starting to go on a slightly hiatus from Cinema Recall, not all the way. All right, I'm not going to wait long here, but I'm developing a few other shows. Like I'm doing a new podcast with my buddy Ashley, and we're going to start recording new podcast episodes called the AV Exchange. And that will be coming out sometime, I want to say, in the fall or late, a few months from now. And then I still have The Rotten Truth, which I record every month over at Rabbit Hole Podcast. I got to get you on The Rotten Truth, Cam. We got to get you scheduled. All right? Because
Ashley's awesome. Rotten Truth, you've been doing all kinds of deep focuses.
Well, we're going to be covering 2 particular actors on the show for like little episodes, bonus episodes. We want to cover the movies of Hulk Hogan, covering his movies because I know there's a Netflix documentary about him that made me want to cover this. Plus, one of my friends, shout out Jordan, he says Hulk Hogan would be good. And then Hulk Hogan and Madonna. I want to cover the movies of Madonna and Hulk Hogan. All right.
I'm a bastard. I'm a big League of Their Own and Body of Evidence fan. So
okay, well then I will keep you in mind for the Body of Evidence episode, okay?
But
all
yes,
right?
Hogan, we could talk all day. Just like let's talk about his singing Gremlins too, even though it doesn't have anything.
So like Mr. Nanny, Suburban Commando
Mr.
for Hulk Hogan.
Nanny, oh my god!
And then I want to cover like Who's That Girl and Shanghai Surprise for Madonna. And I'm not quite sure if I'm going to develop all the shows of just Hulk Hogan once, or then all the shows for Madonna at once there. So it'll be there, but. Go to rabbitholepodcast.com. We got our episode coming up soon on Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. So that's going to be happening there very shortly. And then, as always, as what I do every month, I also will still do my random thoughts of a movie Insomniac, where I review movies that I just saw recently and do little fun little tidbits there.
Love it.
But again, Cam, thank you so much
for
being here for Cinema Recall, talking about
Likewise.
this twisty movie. Oh, it's so twisty with the things happening
yes,
everywhere.
baby. Woo.
All right. But
Also,
anything else you want to say before we leave?
If you want to do any comedy roasts, let me know.
Okay,
What's been a delight going back to Dean Martin, Comedy Central days, and then having to remind people is like, just like we're seeing with Netflix do stuff like with Tom Brady and Kevin Hart, is like, it can be somewhat a celebrity you like, but that's the fun part is when you have to end with a toast.
Sure, okay.
After you've been busting their balls the whole time, is then it's like, and by the way, thank you for your bad movies. They changed me, you know?
It's okay.
Steven Seagal was a big challenge because it's like, trash human being, what do I say? I'm like, thank you for making me laugh at you.
Yeah.
For 5 years.
Until
it wasn't funny anymore.
I will have to keep that in mind there. So your roaster over at Jacked Up Reviews podcast. All right.
Yeah, we're going to try and create a separate feed. We'll try to have a separate feed on Spotify and Apple. And,
okay. Well,
YouTube.
Very cool. I promise I'll post all the links to Jacked Up Reviews podcast, all the things you do, and our show notes as well.
I have to do that.
Thank you so much, everyone, for watching and listening to Cinema Recall podcast. Love you all very much, and I will talk with you soon. Bye, everybody.
You got it.